Own number one Folake Igodaro. So let me just do the introduction and we can get this class right on the way. So as you know, our special guest today, her name is Folake Igodaro. We are fellow coaches. We both trained at the Olushola Lanre Coaching Academy, and we like to call ourselves soul sisters because we made such a phenomenal connection all of those years ago when we actually started training together as life coaches. She is a business coach specifically for millennial entrepreneurs, and she has a passion for helping millennials upgrade their mindset, bringing them into the fullness of their purpose, and really helping them to deploy strategies, methods, and tactics so that they can have successful businesses in their own career and in their field. So we can see that there's some of her followers that have come to join. So without further ado, let me get her on so we can get to know. Welcome. Once again, whilst we're waiting for her, just drop in the comments where you are watching from. Hey, Folake!
Hi.
Hey!
Hello.
Welcome to today.
Hi.
So good to see you. Thank you
I'm
so
so
much.
happy to be doing this.
We are so happy to have you here, and we're really
Yeah.
excited for the insights that you're going to share. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
can I say how awesome is your hair? Like,
Hey.
wow, guys,
Hey.
how amazing is her hair? Can we give her a shout out because her hair is giving me life right now. I love it. Beautiful. Welcome.
Thank
How are
you.
you?
I'm doing very well. Like I've been getting ready for today. I've been so excited. I woke up with all the energy in the world. I'm sure my baby felt the difference.
Fantastic. Well, look, we are really excited and we're going to kick
Mm-hmm.
off the class straight away. No need for no long thing. So
Yeah.
before we get started, I want you to introduce yourself to us. Let us know who you are, what you do. I know I've done a brief introduction, but let's hear from the horse's mouth herself and tell us who is the Boss Money Business Millennial Coach.
Okay, so hi everyone, and my name is Falake Igodaro, and it's I'll share my story on how I got here, which is for the very long time, for as long as I can remember, I've always wanted more. That's the core of everything that drives me. Like I'm not satisfied with just being okay or comfortable or let me just manage sha. I've always wanted more, and that meant I embrace change and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to be different and to be better and to grow. And I like learning as well. Actually, when I was in primary school, I used to teach the flowers outside the house. So we had all these flowers. We always have flowers. And I realized that when I teach, obviously there wasn't one to teach at home, but I had the flowers. So I had that special connection with the flowers, right? And it made me remember things. So during exams, I never had any panic or worry or stress because I remembered everything that I read. So there was also this yearning for there's more to life than where I am right now. And that started in secondary school, right? I realized that I was different from everybody around me. I had very few friends. I had just one very close friend in GS3. And when she left to the UK, I came back in SS1 and I realized, oh my goodness, I am all alone. I have to make new friends all over again. And so it's been that same process up until uni when I realized, okay, my plan for education, NYSC, law school, it's almost over and I have no idea what I want to do after that. So I started panicking. By law school, which was the end of my plan, it was like, okay, what I need to do? What's happening? Do you really want a job? Do you want to work? But every time I thought about a job, there was no picture. Like it was black, just blank. And you can't go where you can't see. You have to see
Yeah.
where you're going, right?
Mhm.
And then I started asking questions because I discovered two new words, vision and purpose. And I'm thinking, okay, so I'm meant to have a purpose. There's a reason why I'm here. Okay. And then I'm meant to have a vision, i.e., I'm meant to see where I'm going, which I saw where I was going up until law school. And it happened exactly as I saw it. Even though we didn't have, the money to pay the fees at the beginning, it was a struggle. But the point is, I saw it to that completion and I followed through. So now I had to see again. I had to create a new vision for myself. And I found that it's not for me to wait for something outside of me to make that happen. I am to create that reality for myself. And I realized that when I found my mentor. So most times I find that us millennials, we like to feel like I can do it by myself, you know? And you cannot do it by yourself. You need help. And it's better to have a blueprint, so that someone's journey that took them 20 years, the person has a blueprint. Then you just take that blueprint and copy it in line with your vision, in line with your purpose, and you shorten your journey from 20 years to 10 years. That way, the wealth transfer becomes more easeful. The struggle and the burdens reduce because there is a blueprint, and that blueprint is in line with the vision. And so, I've coached a lot of other millennials, and it's always the same thing. I ask you, what do you want? And they're like, um, um, you need to know what you want. You can't not know what you want.
Yeah.
You need to know what you want. And so it's that realization that first off, we need to know what we want. And then when you know what you want, you cannot create a picture. You cannot define it, put around the borders, put around the structure, create your boundaries, and then create a system. And then you cannot start moving towards it. So it's not that we don't know what to do. We know what to do because the internet has everything. Google can give you answers like this. But we don't have the energy to move to do those things.
Yeah. I love what you're saying, Falake, because, what I've noticed, I moved back to Nigeria about 7 years ago. I was born and raised in the UK, you can probably hear with my accent. And from a very young age, we, in the UK, my life really started very early on. It really started at the age of 16. I already had my own place. I was already working. I was already paying my way through. And so what I found was that I had to become very independent at a very young age. Coupled that with the fact that I did have a child as a teenager. I was 19 when I had my first child. And so I had to grow up really quickly and start to figure out, what am I doing on this earth? Why am I here? Where am I going? What is my mission? What is my vision? However, it took me almost 20 years to really get to a place of fully understanding where I am going with my life. And that's ultimately where I am today, doing my coaching, setting up the platform, leading a body of women, a community of women. And so the question I want to ask you, Folake, is, especially within the African context, I don't know if you have noticed the way I have noticed, but a lot of adults now have had their decisions made for them when they were younger. So a lot of them are actually doing careers because that was what their parents had told them. And I fell into that trap. I'm a lawyer plus 15 years post-qualified, but it was a career that was chosen for me. I actually wanted to become a ballet dancer. I wanted to dance ballet, right?
You're my dance sister. I really wanted to dance. Oh my God.
That was actually what I wanted to do. And my father was like, I don't understand. Which one is ballet? Which one is ballet? And so that was how my career got chosen. But guess what? It took me 15 years to realize I don't enjoy what I'm doing. This is not why I'm here. This doesn't light me up. This does not thrill me. And so it took years of being stuck, depressed, miserable, broke, confused, lost, to really get to where I am now. And one of the reasons why I chose you for this particular topic is because you are a millennial, but you are a forward thinking one. You are, you talked about purpose, you've talked about vision, you've talked about looking at the further afield. And so I want you to give us that dialogue, open that dialogue for us, for people who have had their life decided for. And how do they begin to navigate their own discovery of who they are? It doesn't really matter what age. I know we're focusing on millennials, but I really do believe that this is applicable to anybody who feels lost. Because if you are a millennial that has had your path chosen for you, your career, who you're going to marry, when you're going to marry, what you're going to look like, if that has all been decided for you, talk to us about how can we begin to change that and go into a discovery of who we are so we can make decisions from our authentic self.
I totally get you on this one because you studied law. I studied law as well. And the only reason why I studied law was because, they'll ask you, so what do you want to study when you get to university? What do you want to be when you grow up? You want to be a lawyer, be like your daddy. And I'm like, I don't know. But, I knew then I liked how the mind worked and I like to teach. But, I wasn't hearing that in my environment. I was hearing law, 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 like your daddy. So when I did my A levels, I fell in love with business. As in, I fell in love with business. I would read my notes every day. Why? Just because I enjoy it, you know? And I told my dad, I said, listen, so I'm thinking to change to business. And he said, no, just do law. Then you can do business for your master's. I mean, it sounded like a good combo. It's not like law was bad anyway. So I did it. And coming back, I talked to my friends, I talked to colleagues, and it's the same story, like you said. In fact, I know someone who studied computer science, and I'm like, okay, so tell me, what can you do with that now? Or what do you want to do? And he goes, please don't ask me, okay? I've studied it, I've passed it. In fact, it was more like pay my lecturers so that I get it over and done with. He doesn't know anything there and he does not intend to use it for anything. So that's like the average millennial story.
Yeah.
Now, when you school abroad, you're open to other perspectives and you see how life can be different and better. So there's that awareness that can guide you to ask, okay, what do I really want to do and how can I go about it, and who's in my space or who is in another space that I can jump to and learn from that person. So that is different from if you schooled in Nigeria and you're not taught to ask questions. You're taught to give me back what I have given to you. If you don't put back in the papers what I give to you, I will fail you. My husband did university for 7 years because the lecturers were just that ridiculous. So when you have those two environments, I'll speak to schooling in Nigeria. I know there's a common thing, and that is they want to be successful. We want to be successful. That's the common thing. The question then is, what is your definition of success? I.e., life does not reward you by your effort, but by your definitions. If your definition doesn't have depth, right, and it doesn't go to the core of who you are, then you end up chasing all these shallow, superficial, material things that bring you happiness for a while, and then after that, that black empty hole void is still there, and then it's like a perpetuating loop. It feeds off itself like that. So the question then is, okay, I want more and I want to be successful. At the same time, I want to do it in a way that brings me complete fulfillment. So going with that thought, it means that you have to be comfortable with who you are and you have to want more for yourself and love yourself, And not just doing it for your family, your friends, your church, your society, but you're doing it for you because you genuinely want to be happy and you want to do those things that make you happy and make you better. So you're doing it for you. And from that space, you know that, okay, even if I have to work hard and go through hell for a couple of years in order to mold myself into this new person. You see, because if you school in Nigeria and all your programming has been Nigeria, there's a lot of baggage that needs to come out. Like, it needs to fall off. It needs, because it's, the environment can choke you and you just die. You know, that environment makes you feel like you have to, you know, kill to eat. And the universe doesn't work like that. It's more collaborative, it's more creative, you know. So then it's, you want more for yourself, and you're willing to do that in a way that is most aligned with the core of who you are, and you're willing to change to make that happen. And also, it's difficult because I won't say difficult, I'll say it's challenging, meaning it requires you to bring out your best, because your family, friends will try to bring you down, not like they are trying to hurt you purposely, but you see, their own programming is still in that dark space. You have seen the light, and now you're trying to change. So you now have to be strong enough to face them and say, listen, this is what I want, and I am going for it. Because I had serious arguments with my dad. I would go for my wealth creation and mentorship classes from morning till evening because I was that hungry. And he would say, Falake, this your mentorship thing, is it not over yet? And I'm like, no, daddy, it's not over. Okay, mentorship never ends. And I would say it in as calmly and in a calm tone, because I knew that if I should use the same heat that he did to talk to me, it would just create more chaos. And what I was going after was more than that. So I had to just let him know that, listen, I'm committed to this and it's happening. My sister even said, okay, I don't recognize you anymore. Who are you? You're not my sister. And I'm like, listen, boo, this is all for good. So just allow it. Leave me alone. Let me continue going.
So I love the fact that you talked about you have to create your own definition of success.
Yeah.
And what I understand that to mean is that you have got to decide the kind of life you want to create, the kind of experience you want to have, the kind of joy you want to receive, the kind of love you want to embrace. And I love that concept because it really puts you back in the power of your life. It puts you back in the seat. And, you know, we're fellow coaches of the OCA alumni. And one of the things that we learned is that we are in the driver's seat of the red car. Do you remember the red car that we
right
were given?
there. Yeah.
Right? This is the idea that, look, it doesn't matter how young you are, old you are always in control of where you decide you want to take your life.
Yeah.
And yes, there are to many extent decisions that are made for us at a particular age. I mean, I have a 12-year-old, I have a 20-year-old. The way I make decisions for my 12-year-old is completely different to the way I make decisions with regards to my 20-year-old. As a matter of fact, I don't even make decisions with him. I collaborate with him. I converse with him. And I give him the room to go into that space of his own independence, his own thinking, his own desires to make that decision. So let's talk about, what does it mean to define success? When we are looking at defining success, what is your understanding of that? I've given my understanding, which in my view is, you know, deciding what you want for your life and making a plan to create it. And then, you know, using that plan as your stepping stones to determine going towards the progress and the execution of your goal. But talk to us from your millennial perspective. What does that actually really mean? And how do we do that? What are the practical steps that we can do right now to get onto that platform?
Okay, so we're talking about definitions, right? And so we're talking about creating boundaries, understanding the cores of things, creating orders and structures, and then powering that by spirit. So I define success as being a boss. You create boundaries, orders, structures, but by spirit. That's it. That's it.
Beautiful.
So, so then to go deeper on that, see, I use a template, and the template is the Jesus template, right? And not the Jesus template as per you know what your devotional is telling you, just love God, love yourself, and you're okay. No, 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 no. You see, because God loves everybody. Murderer, the psychopath, the kind person, God loves everybody. But the blessings are for the disciples. And for you to be a disciple, it means that you're following the laws, you're following the rules, and you're following a mandate. It's two different things. You don't have to do anything for God to love you. But for God to bless you, there are things to be done. So success can be, yes, I'm happy, I have food and water, and I'm doing okay, I'm comfortable. I don't need all these material things. Fine, but let me shock you. I was reading Luke, right, in the Bible, and it's a story of the disobedient servant.
Mhm.
Basically, his master caught him uh, cheating in the accounting books. And so the slave was like, my master is going to fire me. What am I going to do now? So he called all the people that were owing his master and said, okay, listen, you're owing 1,000 grain. What do you want to put there? He changed it to 100. About three scenarios like that, he was able to reduce their debt. So what that meant was, once his master kicks him out, he has other places to go to. He has other options. He has created other options for himself. So he's good. And then the last paragraph of that story says that if you have the earth and the world and the operations going on there and you have not mastered that, how will you master the affairs of heaven? So nobody can come and tell me that, oh, let me just be in my small space and just as long as I'm praying every day. No, it is our duty, obligation to be successful in all ways, material, spiritual, psychological, everything, especially the material, because we're in the physical reality. So you cannot say you do not want to be part of the physical reality. You can't say you don't want to experience the physical reality in its fullness. God did not create the waterfalls and the mountains and all of these structures so that it can just be there. They are created so we can see them, experience them, and glorify God in the process of that, because you experience life in its fullness and you're like, oh my God, this is God. And then you praise God from that fullness. So I use that print as the success templates. And Jesus was not a beggar. He was not a poor man. Jesus was a big boy. He was a bad guy, in fact, because the responses he had to the Pharisees, I'm like, wow, shade, did that come from you? He was always ready to give. They will give them, he will come, they will come and try to test him. And he will give them hot, fire for
Yeah.
fire. He was always
Yeah.
ready. So
Yeah.
that means that there are principles and there are laws, and there's a certain mindset to cultivate. He says, renew your mind, and the mind of Christ is the kind of mind that we should have. God was not just a tiny, lowly servant, he was top of his game. He was ready for the psychological warfare that the Pharisees and their tiny little rats were always throwing at him. He was ready. So that means our minds have to be sharp, and we have to make sure that every single time we are cultivating those habits, those thought patterns, and the words, because the language is the coding that we use to create the reality. The language is what we use to mold and create shapes and shape shift into spaces.
Yes.
So we need to make sure that we are following the language and we continue to evolve, and we continue to, if your phone can update, If the iPhone can be doing updates every month, every week, who are you, child of God, to not upgrade your brain and your mind? You know,
I think
so
that
that right there is the definition of success.
I absolutely love that. And that boss definition, the acronym for boss, it just blew my mind.
A
Boundaries,
a
order, structure, and
structure and
spirit.
spirit. Yeah.
And I think that is such a fantastic understanding of really how to move with your life, how to really go into that place where you are standing in your truth, standing in your purpose, delving deeper and deeper into you, because the boundaries, in my understanding, signifies you saying, this is how I am choosing to show up in the world, regardless of what other people say. And this is such a major, major, major struggle for all of us, especially as women, no matter what age we're in. Because as women, we've been cultured, we've been nurtured. We have literally been told how we are supposed to be. There are expectations that we are supposed to follow. And what happens is it stifles our own free expression. It stifles our own feminine essence. And so boundaries is about being unapologetic in standing up for what you choose and going ahead. And I love the fact that you talked about order, because at the end of the day, you do need steps, you need strategies, you need focus, you need a direction to where you are going. And likewise, you need structure, right? You need to have a framework within to work, and you need to have, people who have gone ahead. And I love the fact that you talked about mentoring. You talked about when you were on your discovery journey, you also looked for people who had done it before, and you looked at their blueprint. So when we talk about spirit now, and this is the part that excites me, because I think so many of us are disconnected. And
Yeah.
when I say we're disconnected, yes, we are of a religious faith. We go to our places of worship, and we profess what we believe is our understanding of God. But when we talk about spirit and being spiritual, I love the fact that it's an evolving process. It's a relationship. It's a dance. It's like this mixture of colors and paint. You are in a co-creative space with the creator. And you talked about laws. I know we're not going to have time to go through all of the laws,
Yeah.
but can you mention one or two laws that we can begin to apply in our life that can help us on this journey of self-discovery as millennials? Give us two top laws that you consider to be fundamental on the self-discovery journey.
Okay, so I use universal laws, and I use universal laws because it doesn't matter what level you're at, what phase you're in, what country, what gender, the laws apply universally, right? So one is the law of cause and effect. And that means that whatever you do or whatever happens in your space, there is something that is causing it to happen. There's something that you have done to make it happen. So that means that when it puts the power back in our hands, in the sense that when you're in a space that isn't aligned with who you are, what you want, when you're not getting what you want, you know that, okay, this is an effect of something that I have done. So in order to change it, I have to do something different to get what I want. So first you want to know, what do I want? So like, let's talk about in the space of emotions, right? Or, you're creating your website, you're starting your business, and you're creating your plans, and you're starting to talk to people and all of these things, but you're not getting the results that you want. And so now you're feeling frustrated, right? So first off, in that state, you're not in the right mental space to actually create better solutions. So it means that you have to decide, okay, I need to cause something different to happen. That means you need to enter a different space. So you decide, okay, so what am I feeling right now? Define it. I'm feeling angry, I'm frustrated, I'm upset, I'm sad. Okay, that's fine. You've acknowledged it. Now you want to take that feeling and say, okay, so now that I feel this way, what do I want? I want to get such and such results, and I want to be happy about it. And so you imagine yourself getting that result. That's where the visualization comes in. You imagine yourself getting that result that you want, because now that you know what you want, you can see it, you can visualize it. And then you write down exactly what it is that you want. Once you write it down, you can now start making a plan. And you find that in the process of doing that short exercise, you don't even realize when you're not angry anymore. You've already started writing. You're happy about, what you're about to achieve. You've already changed your state without even realizing the moment that the shift happened. Sometimes it happens in an instant. Sometimes it takes some time because the energy is so hot, and so time and space must occur, right? If the effect is a level 10, then you have to use a level 20 to cause a different outcome. Why? Because it takes twice as much energy to go from a low negative state to a high positive state. Now that you're aware of this, you already know how it works. So you'll be patient with yourself through this process, because it can be frustrating, but you already know the law and you know the technique. So be patient let time and space happen for you to change and shape shift into that new space that you want. So that's for the law of cause and effect. Fantastic. And the techniques to make that happen.
So take us through really quickly your next law, because we do have some questions, and then we're going to kind of close out on the class. So tell us the next important law, and then we can do some Q&As really quickly.
Okay, so the second law is the law of vibration. And the law of vibration, the law of vibration is simply everything moves. Nothing is static. There's always, the physical reality is still moving. It's just that, everything is so dense and packed together, so you can touch it and, feel it. And so it looks like it's not moving. But when you take a microscope or a very powerful one and go deep into the atoms, you see that everything is moving. Oh my goodness. Real quick, I watched a documentary on the cells in the body and how they were moving like, colonies and communities. It was really creepy, but I had to watch it till the end because it was so fascinating to see that the body is moving in tiny ways. Yeah, so the physical reality is still moving, but it's death. And in the mental plane, in the spiritual plane, in the unseen realm, everything is happening so fast. So that's why I say that, when we pray and when we visualize and we have thoughts, it's already happened. It happens immediately. It's just that, like I said, we are in the physical reality that is bound by time and space, right? So that time and space must happen in order to draw and attract those thoughts and the experience from that unseen realm and, attract it and draw it down into the physical reality where you can then engage with it and experience it, and then other people can see it. So that's why I say, when you have a vision and the people around you don't understand, it's because they can't see what you see. To you, it has already happened. It's finished. And in fact, you're excited, and that excitement is what is powering you. So it's okay that they can't see it. They cannot see it. There's no way. So when that time and space happens and it finally, manifests the physical reality, then everybody be like, oh my gosh, I've blown, oh my God, this, that. But then you see, at that time, it won't really faze you what people are saying, because your vision has expanded. You've already moved on. You're already onto something else. So, they'll come around, you say, thank you, okay. But you're gone, on to the next. So, understanding the different dynamics and how people are in different phases and that movement is happening up and down, is the rhythm of life. So just flow with it while you're grounded in your spirit, in who you are, and you'll be all right.
I absolutely love those two laws. So the first law was the law of cause and effect. I love that particular law because it's always constantly telling you that there are always ways in which you can change more than one route to a destination. If something is not happening, check the reason why it's not happening the way you want it, and then make a decision to change course. Causing and effect means that there is a reason for everything, and so that means there's also a solution for every problem. And you talked about the law of vibration, which is actually one of the laws that I do talk about in my upcoming course, The Alchemy of Self-Discovery. And the law of vibration really speaks to the fact that there is a frequency at which we need to operate in order to bring the very things that we desire into our lives. And really what that means is that being an embodiment of what we desire. So if you are desiring to be a millionaire, you've got to step into the frequency and vibration of a millionaire. You've got to be able to speak the way a millionaire speaks, dress the way a millionaire dresses, have the mindset of a millionaire. And that doesn't necessarily mean going bankrupt, stealing to get money so you look the part, but it's the mindset programming. So I really, really do love those two laws. Unfortunately, we don't have time to go into more details, but before we round up, there are a couple of questions.